12 o'clock. We're about to fill your ear holes with the sounds of Steve and Igo.
Oh, gross!
Get ready for the most in-depth discussion on everything ECU. Players, coaches, the program, and more. This is Hoist the Colors with Steve and Igo.
Play ball!
You ready? This is 94.3 The Game. This is where the Pirates play.
Welcome in. It is Hoist the Colors on a Thursday, May 15th edition of the program. Midway through May, the conference tournament for the American Athletic Conference is next week. ECU baseball will conclude its regular season over the coming days. They're in Tampa, Florida, set to open the final regular season series tonight in Tampa, 6:30 Eastern, first pitch. Of course, 94.3 The Game will have coverage for you. PJ Patrick Johnson on the call, filling in for Dylan Johnson this weekend. And so we will preview that over the course of the next hour. Also talk about the ramifications of it. What does it really mean? Does ECU even need to win this series? How do they need to address their pitching going into the conference tournament with a quick turnaround? We'll touch on all that, a whole lot more. We also had the NFL schedule released last night. We're already trying to figure out what games we want to go to for our favorite teams, trying to map that out, trying to see if we can even get tickets, which is a whole process. And we'll talk about our favorite matchups and more. We are live on YouTube, Facebook, and X. If you have a question, comment, concern, drop it there. We'll get to it over the course of the next hour. Philip Pilkington back in the 94.3 The Game studios. Philip, how are you doing on this fine Thursday? I know you're fired up about your annual schedule release. There's nothing like it until we realize we got like 5 more months of football.
Well, I'm glad you're into it, man. I was hosting PJ yesterday, and Dom and Chris, our intern, were like, it is what it is. So I thought I was totally in the minority, but I'm excited, man. It's always fun, especially with all the ECU Thursday night games, kind of trying to figure out, map out my schedule, figure out how many games I can go to. And looks like it's going to work out good for Jim Zoki. Hopefully he won't be hopping around too bad this year.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, like this is, and we'll get more into it later, but this is an ideal scenario, as painful as it is for the fans, and I'm sorry to you fans who have to deal with these Thursday night games and these Saturdays off because everybody wants to play college football on Saturdays. From a writer's perspective who also likes watching other football, and from your perspective as a producer and a co-host on the pregame show, this is best case scenario schedule, and now we have a chance to really, take in other games. Which, look, at the end of the day, Philip, we love ECU, and we love covering the games, but we're sports fans too. Like, we love being able to not do a job and watch sports. So I think we're both going to try to do some of that this fall.
Yeah, and I think it comes down to, right, for us, it's like when you're a fan, the second the game ends, you can go watch other games. It's not really how it works for us. I think about it, and I know attending, you a lot of ECU fans are very good about attending games. You don't see other games in that window, but obviously, growing up an NFL fan, growing up Panthers fan, growing up in Charlotte, went to a lot of 1 o'clock games, but it was still nice. I would get home and the 4 o'clock games would be like beginning of the second quarter. Like, I got to see a majority of those games. And that is the one downside to working in sports. And I know other people don't want to sit here and go, you guys get paid to talk about sports all day, quit complaining. So I do get it. We are not really complaining, but we will just say that the Thursday night games are kind of nice for us because we do like to prop our feet up and watch other games. Because at the end of the day, our job is to talk about East Carolina primarily, but we have to know what's going on in the world of sports as well. Because if all we did was sit here and talk about ECU all day, it'd get kind of repetitive.
And we'd run out of content, especially in June, as we're going to do. We're going to keep the show going as a plan through June. All right, let's get into, though, we still have ongoing ECU sport events, mainly just ECU baseball for the most part, and they are in action. Final regular season weekend series, Thursday through Saturday, so kind of midweek/weekend series. Always a little awkward starting a series on a Thursday, but that's the case tonight in Tampa. And just to kind of give you guys a primer on what to expect, South Florida, a lot like ECU, up and down. Now, they're under first-year head coach Mitch Hannes, who came over from Indiana State, where he built a phenomenal program. The Bulls are 27-22. They are 14-10 in the American, so they are 2 games ahead of ECU. We'll get more into the standings, what all that means in our next segment, and how the Pirates can move up. But they've been better in conference play, more consistent than ECU to this point. They have been still up and down, though, after a pretty hot start in league play. At the plate, they're solid, 274 batting average. They do have some swing and miss. They also have a lot of team speed, 71 stolen bases. They've got 3 guys with 10 or more steals, including 1 guy with 20 steals. His name is Ryan Pruitt. He's 20 of 24. Sebastian Greco, I believe is the pronunciation, has hit 14 home runs. He's their primary power threat. He's actually hit 14 of their 45 home runs. So again, they're hitting 274 as a team. Just a 780 OPS, which is okay, not great. On base plus slugging percentage for non-baseball fans. So they get on base at a decent rate, but don't have a ton of power outside of Greco, their main power hitter. On the mound, they've got an ace, Corey Braun. And we'll get more into this conversation shortly. How much will we see of him? How much will we see of Ethan Norby? I don't know. But if he does pitch, he's a guy who can go deep into games when they fully rely on him. 7-2 with a 3.21 ERA. 88 strikeouts in 87 innings. He is a workhorse. Now, once you get past Corey Braun, their pitching staff has really struggled. They have a 5.40 ERA as a team. Conference worst in strikeouts. They have struck out the least amount, 359 in 425 innings, but they also have only walked 164 in 425 innings. So they are going to throw strikes. They're going to make you beat them. Braun is their one strikeout guy, and then they've got a couple good relievers. So a lot like many teams in the American. And the uncertainty of it all is, Philip, as we bring back the conversation to both of us, is like we don't have any projected starters as we sit here on Thursday at 12:06 p.m. We don't know if Ethan Norby's going to pitch. We don't know if Corey Braun's going to pitch. So, I don't know. I'm expecting a lot of offense in this series is what I would say. Although you also have to kind of wonder, what is the motivation level of the players, just knowing that if your team's kind of pitching off, as we call it in the baseball industry, not throwing their best guys to save them for later, that can kind of alter the mindset of a team too. So maybe it comes down to who's more mentally engaged from a position player standpoint going into this series.
Yeah, because especially for them, a team that doesn't get a lot of strikeouts, you have to be good, effective defensively. And then you look at East Carolina's side of things. We do not know what Cliff Godwin's going to do. However, he came on this show on Monday and said that he wants everyone hot next Tuesday, which means Sean Jenkins, Ethan Norby, and Ethan Young are not going to throw 80 or 85 pitches this weekend. We don't know how much they're going to throw. We don't know if they're going to throw at all. But those are your strikeout guys, right? You're going to have more opportunities where you're going to have to make the plays. Like you said, you're going to have to make the plays at the plate as well. You have to be disciplined at the plate. You're not going to be seeing the best arms. You might have some more walk opportunities. But South Florida is in the same exact boat as East Carolina. Exactly. Yes, they might be in a different spot in the standings, but both teams will at least finish 8th. They will make the conference championship, or conference tournament, and if they do not win the conference tournament, they will not make the NCAA tournament. So both teams are 100% in the same situation. We're going to get into seeding and all that here in a second, where we want to be, and once the conference tournament starts, yes, not all situations are created equally. However, again, heading into tonight, they're in the same situation we are. So, like you said, there's a lot of exterior factors that do not normally play into a college baseball series.
Yeah, and part of me is kind of not looking forward to covering a series that doesn't feel like it matters a whole lot, although I am interested to see which ECU shows up. Is it the motivate, really with less pressure on to win the series because there's not a ton to play for. Maybe we see ECU play a relaxed, confident brand of baseball, or do they just kind of go out there and go through the motions? That we'll find out tonight. I find it hard to believe a Cliff Godwin-led team will just go out there and not care about winning, but, who knows? I just think it's, as I look into the crystal ball, if it were me, this is how I would approach it. I honestly have no inside intel at this point on how ECU is going to do it. This is just from a pitching perspective, Philip, if it were me, I would try to throw the guy, like my main guys, tonight or tomorrow at the latest, and then treat Saturday just like a true midweek game. Guys you really don't care about having it at all available on Tuesday. But Thursday, tonight, maybe I'm going like with the pod system. Ethan Norby, hey, get us 3 innings and then you're out, or 45 pitches or whatever comes first. Ethan Young, let's go 2-3 innings, get him out, rest him for the weekend, make sure he's good to go Tuesday. Same with Pruitt. Same with Jake Hunter. your top arm, Sean Jenkins, maybe you throw him for a few innings on Friday. Maybe throw Lance Williams for a few innings on Friday. That's how I would approach it. I would almost map it out as, all right, we're going Norby 3 innings, we're going Young 2 or 3 innings, we're going Pruitt 3 innings, and then we're getting them their work and then taking them out and saving them to the conference tournament. Do you feel like that's the way to do it, or do you still let the game decide and dictate who comes in where? Maybe it's a combination.
I mean, if you're up, 2 runs and there's the bases loaded, 1 out in the late innings, and maybe you weren't going to go to a guy here, you were going to save him for tomorrow to get his workload. Hey, maybe you bring him in. Let's just Ethan Young, good example, because we like to use him in James. Hey, we weren't using Ethan until tomorrow. We were wanting him to throw maybe 3 innings. All right, Ethan, guess what? Now this is your first inning, and now you're only getting 2 tomorrow. You play the game to win the game. You don't show up and not care. But at the end of the day, you set a goal for yourself at the beginning of the season. That goal is to go to Omaha. What puts you in the best situation to get to Omaha? Everybody being hot on Tuesday. And at the end of the day, that is what matters most. Your goal at the beginning of the season was not to win a Thursday night game in Tampa. Would you like to win the game? Sure. So I say you can stray from it to an extent, but you don't do anything that hinders your ability to win the game on Tuesday.
For me, there are really, let's see if I can count them. There are 6 guys that I want, maybe 7 at full capacity on Tuesday. Both Ethan Norby, Ethan Young, Sean Jenkins, Brad Pruitt, Jake Hunter. And I'm going to throw Lance Williams into that mix. I know he's been inconsistent, but I just feel like he's a guy, if you need a strikeout in a big spot, he can get you that. When he's good, he's good. When he's bad, he's bad. I mean, he's got great stuff, which is inconsistent. And my 7th would be Colby Wallace, just because, again, if you need a guy to go in and throw strikes who's going to compete in that moment, I trust those 7 for the most part. Certainly the top of that group, Norby, Young, Pruitt, Jenkins, are the guys you really, really want. Obviously, Jake Hunter in that mix as well. Like, those are the 5 you want. But, as I look at it, I mean, there's really 7 guys that I trust. Like, Nick Moran was one of those guys. He's struggled down the stretch. I haven't mentioned Zayak. Maybe he's in there too as a freshman, although he didn't pitch well in his most recent start. Am I missing anybody, Phillip, that as we get towards the conference tournament, like these are the arms you want fresh, or is that about it from your perspective?
Going into Tuesday, that's it. If you get into a situation where you're playing 2 games on Saturday, you're going to have to throw an Ian White type, maybe a Gabe Beslosh, but those are the guys that I think throw the back end of this weekend. If you're using those guys on Tuesday, wow, you're down by a lot of runs. And, there's nothing against those guys, but they're young, they're inexperienced, and look, they're hopefully going to, continue to improve. But those are the guys you want to be using, back into the weekend, this weekend, back into the weekend, next weekend. At the end of the day, I think you hit the nail on the head. I mean, like I said, there's guys that can throw strikes, there's guys that can pitch, but at the end of the day, I think those 7 for sure. Really, those 5, but those 5 plus 2, I would say.
The other aspect of this is you probably have to rest Riley Johnson a little bit this weekend because we saw the cramps he's dealt with. Cliff Godwin did think he'd be available, but you probably manage his innings. You're going to want him at near full capacity for the conference tournament. And you want to get your guys at the plate going as much as possible heading into the conference tournament. So, again, from an ideal perspective, Braden's been pretty consistent all year, but 2 guys who have been up and down at times are Dixon Williams and Colby Wallace. Like, you want those guys kind of peaking going into the conference tournament because they can win games for you with one swing of the bat. And I don't know, any other parts of the lineup, Phil, that you want to see that have maybe been up and down? Like, you want to see them trending in the right direction going into the conference tournament?
Yeah, I mean, I think you want to see anybody you can, right? Whether it's Alex Peltier, Davin Whitaker's come on strong lately, and you want to see him continue that. So I think you want to keep guys who are hot in their groove, and anybody that you think is going to be an every inning fielder, you want to get him the opportunity this week to get hot or stay hot. But one of the things that I'm most looking at is how do you manage the innings behind the dish? Walker's caught a lot back there. Now, obviously, Tuesday's game gets canceled. He had Sunday off. But you play a doubleheader this past Saturday. There's a chance you play a doubleheader this coming up Saturday. I mean, there is a weird scenario if you play the later game on Friday. Between Friday, 2 games Saturday, and a game Sunday, you are looking at 4 games in a 48-hour span. Because the Sunday game would start before on Sunday earlier than that Friday night game would have started. That Friday afternoon game would have started. I would like to have Walker Barron as available as possible. So I would not be opposed to sitting him for a game. Yes, we want his bat consistent. We know he's going to be consistent back there. So I do want to see him play, get some opportunities. You don't want him to have not swinging a bat in a week and a half. But I wouldn't mind seeing Big John or Michael Kalinich back there just to eat some innings, especially when you get to Saturday.
Michael Kalinich, a Florida native from the Orlando area. I'm sure his family will be there in Tampa. Hopefully we'll see him behind the dish at least for a few innings, if not for Saturday's game. As Philip mentioned, important to get rest for Walker Barron, who's taken on quite a workload this year. All right, we will get a break in. When we come back, we'll look at the standings. How far can ECU move up the standings? What does the series really mean? From a seeding perspective, does it even matter who ECU is going to be playing in the tournament? We'll break all that down. On the other side, this is Hoist the Colors.
The team of Flatlands Jessup is working overtime to help ensure that Eastern North Carolinians like you get the health insurance help you need this open enrollment period. New legislation passed meaning more people than ever qualify for affordable coverage. Let us help you today.
Are you ready to tackle those yard and garden projects? Come by East Carolina Tractor and Fleet, your local Coyote dealer, and check out their great selection of residential and commercial Coyote tractors. From zero-turn mowers to compact tractors to skid steer loaders, they've got you covered. Some with 0% financing for qualified buyers. Stop by your hometown Coyote dealer, East Carolina Tractor and Fleet, across from the Pitt County Fairgrounds, or online at ectfleet.com. East Carolina Tractor and Fleet. We dig dirt.
Big tax credits are back. Get a 30% tax credit, up to $2,000 off your new Mitsubishi electric heat pump install. Let Comfort Master help you take advantage of the tax credits with a qualifying Mitsubishi electric ducted heat pump or non-ducted Mitsubishi electric mini splits. Mitsubishi electric mini splits are ideal for bonus rooms, garages, or sunrooms. If you need a new HVAC unit, call Comfort Master today.
Call Comfort Master. Call Comfort Master.
At Parker's Barbecue, our family has been serving your family for 3 generations.
For that, we say thank you.
Blessing families every Thursday. Kids eat free all day. That's the Parker's way.
Legendary food served from our 3 locations. Always quick, always delicious. That's the Parker's way.
At Parker's, our mission is to impact our customers through Christ-like service in a way that feeds them both physically and spiritually. That is the Parker's way.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt and Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro-adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt and Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Healthwise Pharmacy rounds the bases with all of your infusion, retail, compounding, and medical equipment needs. Locally owned and operated by pharmacist Marcy Parker, Healthwise has grown to be your most trusted provider for infusion services. Currently providing in-home or on-site infusions in North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia. Visit Healthwise Pharmacy at 615B South Memorial Drive or call 252-295-0059 to speak to a patient service representative to find the option that best suits your needs.
Tired of the 1-800 numbers advertising Medicare products? Flatlands Jessup has 6 offices all throughout Eastern North Carolina. Get face-to-face help from our local award-winning licensed team. Stop by today. Flatlands Jessup, your whole world covered.
The Pirates play here. Arr! This is Hoist the Colors Radio with Stephen Igo. Yes! That was so good! On 94.3, The Game.
Welcome back in. It is Hoist the Colors on a Thursday, May 15th edition of the show. Steve and I go here. Philip Pilkington hanging out as well in the 94.3 The Game studios. We're about to run over all the scenarios with the American Athletic Conference Tournament on the horizon. Again, ECU safely in the field. I say it's safely in. There's only 10 teams in the league and only 8 make it. But, hey, the Pirates have clinched their spot, and they need to win the conference tournament to get in. Just as a reminder, we will have a watch-along for the conference tournament opener. Scheduled to appear right now, we have James Giglio and Brady Thomas. Philip, you're out, right, because you have to produce the game. So you may be in and out some, but most likely out.
Yeah, it sounds like it. I mean, maybe we'll work it out, and Isaac will not get scheduled at Chick-fil-A that day, and I can make him produce it. Fingers crossed. But
yeah, I was talking with Hank Hinton this morning. We're trying to line up some food, so at least you'll get some food.
At least I'll get free food.
Even
Hey,
if you're
I'm gonna pay
producing.
for food, that's good.
Yeah, so we'll get you some of that. Well, hopefully we can find a way to get you a part, but you'll be in the building at least and in and out some. So we'll figure that out. Once we know the exact time, right now, if ECU were to play, it would be a late night edition, 45 minutes after the conclusion of the third game. So we'll see. We'll keep you updated once we hear that. But again, still some seeding to play out. So let's look at the standings. I'm going to be honest, man. Like, it kind of gives me a headache. I was writing an article earlier this week trying to map out this stuff, and it's so convoluted after we know UTSA is the one. They won the regular season. They're the number 1 seed. And then after that, it is just like a cesspool of mediocre teams. Charlotte is in second place at 15-9. South Florida's in third at 14-10. FAU and Tulane are in fourth, tied for fourth, I should say, at 13-11. ECU is a game behind them at 12-12 for sixth. And then you have Rice in seventh at 10-14. And what does make this intriguing is the last 3 teams, Memphis and Wichita at 8-16, tied for eighth, and UAB at 7-17 are all playing to get in. So we talked about ECU pitching off for this tournament, or for this weekend for the tournament. Memphis, Wichita State, and UAB will not be able to do that. Rice is not guaranteed to be in, I don't think.
No, they're not.
But they have to, they have to go to UTSA as well. So, if they get swept and a couple of these other teams win most of their games, they could be out. So, I don't know, what, if anything, intrigues you about this? Is it worth following from your perspective, or is it just all let's just see where the cards fall come Sunday morning or Saturday night?
The sports fan in me says, hey, 2 of these teams are not even getting an opportunity. Let's follow how this all shakes up at the bottom.
Yeah.
I think even a couple of those teams at the bottom are playing each other, right?
Yes, so Wichita, I have it pulled up here. Yeah, Wichita and Memphis are going head-to-head in Wichita. So they're tied
Rice
for eighth
could
and they play
be
each
in.
other.
I'm not sure what the Rice-UAB tiebreaker is, but because Rice is 2 games ahead of both Memphis and Wichita, both Memphis and Wichita can't win 2 games.
This is correct. Let me see. All right, Rice against UAB. Rice lost the series to UAB.
Okay.
So UAB would have the tiebreaker.
Yeah. So, I mean, the baseball fan and the sports fan, you just got to keep up with that because, right, you got 4 teams fighting for 2 spots. I think other than that, now this UTSA team is not as good as previous East Carolina teams. But if you look at what the history of this tournament tells you, the team who has won has not been on the same side of the bracket as the 1 seed. So with that being said, I'm not saying if you're in the 5 spot, throw the game so that you end up the 6. Again, I think part of that's because East Carolina would really tire teams out in the past, force teams to use more arms than they would want to. I don't think this UTSA team is that good. They're good, but not that good. So I think from that perspective, yeah, you keep up with it, but also, at the end of the day, these 4 teams that are fighting for these last 2 spots, none of these teams I think are going to win the conference tournament. It's going to come from one of the top 6. So, at the end of the day, how intriguing is it really until you get to next Tuesday? It's intriguing as you want to make it in your own head. If you want to tell yourself, hey, I'm invested, then great, be invested. If you want to just kind of relax and enjoy the PGA Championship and just your team playing and not worry about other teams because you've got all next weekend to worry about other teams, then enjoy the PGA Championship.
I think that's the way you go.
Yeah.
I think that's the way most fans are going to go. I mean, unless you're a diehard UAB baseball fan. I mean, I'll be honest, like I'll follow the scores for Memphis Wichita State, but even as somebody who covers the American firsthand, I'm not going to be watching UAB Wichita or Memphis Wichita State on ESPN Plus. I'll be watching ECU. And for me, it's just I'm just ready, and I don't like doing this, but like if not to pull something from Click the movie, but like I wish I could just kind of hit a fast forward button, go to Sunday morning and just see where everybody sits, because then the intrigue starts, because ECU theoretically can go as high as third. They cannot catch Charlotte because Charlotte has a tiebreaker in a 3-game lead. So like they could go as high as third but they're going to have to basically sweep this series, Philip, to get there, because if you just win 2 out of 3, then you would at best be tied with Tulane and FAU, who would have to get swept, and you don't have the tiebreaker there. So ECU's got to sweep to move up the standings, basically, is what I'm saying, which is going to be hard to do.
Yeah. So from that standpoint, pray you sweep and enjoy some of the NCAA tournament softball that's on this weekend. If you want a second screen up, I mean, unfortunately, ECU didn't make it. I don't know. Some good games, I'm sure. I don't know. I mean, it's just, yeah, I just don't see myself Saturday tuning into anything more than East Carolina, right? Like, we're playing at 2. There's be a lot of college baseball, and if I tune in, it's probably going to be out of conference. It's probably going to be an SEC game or an ACC game. There's a lot of seeding on the lines for, national seeds when it comes to those. I know it sounds bad, but yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, you're probably locked in when you wake up. Law of averages says you're going to be locked in Saturday morning anyways when you wake up. And that game's just going to be a punt game.
And what's more interesting about it is ECU and South Florida, as it stands right now, would play in the opening game of the tournament. So how does that, let's say that holds true. You almost don't want that team you're going to play to get a firsthand look at your best bullets on the mound as well. So, like, if we want to get super deep into the weeds here, you could say don't throw Norby at all so they can't even get a look at him. I mean, I don't think it goes that far, but, like, you have to maybe look at it like that too. Do you want to show your best game plan or your best pitch sequencing against a team you might have to turn around and face Tuesday? There's just a lot of variant factors in play, and you can probably overcomplicate it to it a bit, to be honest.
You can, but I'm going to ask you a question. We throw nobody. You go 0-3. Rice goes 3-0. You fall to 7. Is there a difference in being 6 and being 7?
I mean, not a ton, although you would have to face Charlotte's ace, assuming they hold as the number 2. Now, Charlotte does have to go
to Tulane.
What would happen in that scenario? Yeah, Charlotte has to go to Tulane. That would probably catapult USF above Charlotte, because I don't see USF sweeping Tulane. Charlotte sweeping Tulane on the road. So you could end up, if you go 0-3, you could still end up facing South Florida if Rice ends up. But, I mean, is Rice, what are the odds they sweep UTSA? Slim?
Slim, because I think
although UTSA has nothing to play for.
But do they? If you're UTSA, because here's how I view it. I think they're in the tournament. But what happens if you're UTSA, you get swept this weekend, you go 0-2, do you fall to a 3 seed in the national tournament? You want to be the 2.
Probably.
Yeah, I mean, their likelihood of hosting, probably slim. Probably none, actually. But
they put in no bid to host, yep.
Okay, so they can't host. Now, you could be a 1 seed, not host. Old Dominion was a 1 seed one year and had to go to Columbia, South Carolina. I don't see that happening. I think that ODU team was better than this UTSA team. However, again, you don't want to fall to the 3 seed. Yeah, theoretically, a 2-3 game is a 2-3 game, but all things considered, you'd rather be a 2. So, from that standpoint, yeah, they have a lot to play for.
From an intrigue perspective, if you're looking around the league this weekend, FAU is at UAB. Again, UAB is in dead last right now, so they would need to knock off FAU probably at least twice to even have a chance to make the
They're
tournament.
Have to sweep because the two teams with 8 wins are playing each other. So somebody in that group's going 2-1 at worst.
So they will need to really take care of business. You also have ECU at South Florida, Rice at UTSA, Memphis at Wichita in the series we just talked about, and then Charlotte at Tulane. So Charlotte at Tulane should be a competitive series. Two of the top half of the leagues, or two of the teams in the top half of the league. So, look, a lot of jockeying could still be done. We'll see where the dust settles, but there's your conference breakdown. Again, ECU right now, the number 6 seed if the season ended today, but there's 3 more games left. And if the Pirates do somehow sweep, they could move all the way up to as high as 3rd, depending on what happens around them. So still something to play for, and we'll see how ECU chooses to handle it from a pitching perspective. All right, we will get a break in. When we come back, the NFL schedule has been released. Everybody loves talking NFL, so we'll hit on that. On the other side, Philip and I will try and map out what games we can go to, what matchups we are most intrigued by, and a whole lot more. On the other side, this is Hoist the Colors.
Hey, it's Jim Wells again with Wells Roofing and Gutters here in the beautiful community of Lindale, Bedford. At Wells Roofing and Gutters, we believe in quality first, and that's why we use Certainty shingles, which are manufactured in Oxford, North Carolina, a local company. In the event you ever do have a claim or a problem with your roof system, they're local and they come and take care of us in a timely manner. We could leave off some accessories and we could certainly save money, but we believe at Wells Roofing and Gutters in installing the correct way per manufacturer requirements, and we warranty your roof both in-house and also with our supplier who is Certainteed. For a job Wells done, no shortcuts taken, and a good quality job on your home, give us a call today, 252-227-8403. We also offer financing, 12 months, no interest, no payments.
This is about you, your family, and the health of all who live in Eastern North Carolina. This is about the transformation of a health system into something more powerful and more human. About creating new ways to treat disease and keep you well. This is about ECU Health, which is to say, it's really all about you. ECU Health. Minds, hearts, purpose.
You have a choice when you invest in insurance, and when you choose First State Insurance Advisors, you're working with people you can trust. Clark Stallings has deep ties in the community. His team, including Keaton Smith, Regina Asby, Phil Leyva, Max Joyner Jr., Max Joyner III, and Ginger Smith, provides knowledgeable and professional advice. First State Insurance Advisors is an independent insurance agency. They offer all types of personal insurance as well as various types for business. Call or email First State Insurance Advisors today. We want to be your trusted choice agency.
Other restaurants claim their food is fresh and fast, but are they friendly? At Moore's, you're treated like family the minute you walk into their doors. With locations in Winterville, New Bern, Swansboro, Morehead City, and Jacksonville. We've been practicing what we preach since 1945. At Moore's, our barbecue is slow cooked and smoked over real wood daily until it's so tender it's falling off the bone. Combined with our fresh chicken, cooked-to-order seafood, and homemade fixins, we're sure you'll agree. If it's not Moore's, it's less.
Climb aboard as we set sail and hoist the colors. Arr, matey! Back to the show with Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game.
All right, welcome in. Hoist the Colors, third segment, Thursday, May 15th. Stephen Igo here, Philip Pilkington producing. We just talked a lot of ECU baseball. If you miss any of that, as always, make sure to download the Hoist the Colors podcast on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Also, give us a rating and review. Hopefully 5 stars, but all those subscribes, as well as on our YouTube page, all those ratings, thumbs up on YouTube, all of it makes a difference as far as getting our show, continuing to grow the platform Our 94.3 The Game YouTube page has grown exponentially since we launched this show, along with the Patrick Johnson Show. So continue to support the guys and everybody around 94.3 The Game, our platform, as we continue to try to grow this thing moving forward. All right, the NFL schedule release is out, and or I guess the NFL schedule release has happened would be the best way to term that. And look, it's a schedule release, and I don't know, it's kind of lost some of its luster too, Philip, because like the Broncos schedule the entire schedule was leaked at like 2:00 yesterday, like 6 hours ahead of the 8:00 release. So like I was already able to make some plans, and so that kind of takes the luster out of it. But there's still some, it just gives you good vibes. And I'm looking at this Panthers schedule. Am I seeing this right? The Carolina Panthers have a Monday night football game. I didn't even know that was still allowed. Is that true?
We were the only team in like the last 6 years to not play a night game last year. They said that every team must have a primetime game. We went to Munich, played at 9:30, and they said, you're the only game in town, so it counts as primetime. So everybody gets a primetime game. And honestly, Monday Night Football has really lost its luster.
Yeah.
Sunday
it's not
night,
even exciting.
Yeah, Sunday night tends to be the best game, and then it used to be Monday night was number 2, and then Thursday night was, your annual Jaguars-Titans game. And, since Prime's taken over, they've really – well, even kind of when Fox took over for majority of the season, when it wasn't just NFL Network, they've done a better job of scheduling the intriguing matchups there. So Monday night's kind of the punt night, and everybody's kind of tunes into the Manning cast. So, you got CMC revenge game, Panthers Week 12. Heading to the Bay Area in San Francisco.
Yeah, that is an interesting one to pick for Monday Night Football, but the CMC factor, if healthy and if he's even still on the team, there's some speculation the Niners could look to trade him midseason too. Could be a factor. I'm looking at the Panthers' schedule. I feel like, man, I think for Carolina, it's not ideal to open with 2 road games, but the start of the schedule is extremely manageable. Like to open with the Jaguars and Cardinals back-to-back, and then you get the Falcons at home. Patriots on the road, like that won't be an easy game. That's a winnable game. And then Dolphins at home. I think that the Panthers could make some noise early. I mean, I think it sets up well. Obviously, you want to play at home, Philip, but I'm a fan, if I'm a Carolina fan, of having a chance to get off to a decent start.
Yeah, you got to build confidence for Bryce Young. He had some at the end of last season, but if you can go to Jacksonville, win, play a competitive loss at Arizona. They're going to have 2 lockdown corners now that they've drafted the kid out of Michigan, right?
Yeah, I think Will Johnson.
Yeah, Will Johnson. So, pairing him with Garrett Williams, there's going to be 2 really good corners. But if you can play well in that game, come out with a loss, but be competitive, and then you come home, hopefully beat Atlanta, hopefully go up to Foxborough and beat New England, you're sitting at 3-1. Now, are the Carolina Panthers going to finish with a 75% win percentage? Absolutely not. They are not going to. But with that being said, if you can start 3-1, that could set you up for a potential 500 season. If you can go out there and go 8-9, 9-8, I think it would be a successful year. And when you get out to a hotter start, yes, just by looking at straight up at the schedule, I'm thinking, 6-11 maybe 7-10, but can that hot start, if you're able to get out to one, portray you forward and have you steal a game here or there that you did not see yourself winning? So I like it. I like how it's easy early and a little tougher on the back end. We'll see what happens. However, the Carolina Panthers have opened with the Jacksonville Jaguars twice in their history. 2003, went to the Super Bowl. 2015, went to the Super Bowl. So lock it in, baby. NFC champions.
I do have to say, too, like Panthers-Jaguars sounds like the perfect Week 1 game. Like, it's just, I don't know. Like, it just feels like that should be Week 1 Panthers-Jaguars, and I'm glad that it's happening. Johnny Robertson in the chat says if the Broncos lose in Week 1, it will probably result in taking out about 80% of survival pool entries. Yeah, the Broncos, they'll play the Tennessee Titans at home. This will be Cam Ward's, we think, debut. And we were talking in the chat with Brady and James the other day. I don't even know if the Titans will score a touchdown in this game. Obviously, there's a lot to be decided between now and then. But Denver's defense should be healthy Week 1, should be good. And that's, to me, as a Denver fan, I mean, that's got to be a win. The schedule actually is pretty tough, but to get the Tennessee at home, I'm already banking that as a win. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think that's a good spot for Cam Ward to begin his career.
No, it's not. You're going against the reigning Defensive Player of the Year in PS2. Not really sure who you guys are going to start at that second corner position, whether it's Riley Moss or it's a kid you drafted. Obviously, you guys have got Jaquan. It's a pretty stacked room there. You guys get after the quarterback really well. It's going to be tough. They got a bad O-line. I think you guys can punch them in the mouth early, get up big, and kind of cruise. And, usually the worst team in the league, they'll still win here or there, but they don't do it week one. They find a way late in the season. The team's a little banged up. So I think it's good that you get what should be an automatic win, week one.
Looking at the other week one games, because obviously week one, another just week one matchup. It just feels right.
There's a lot of
Giants,
week one matchups. It is a snooze fest in the 1 o'clock window.
This is like the most week one schedule I've ever seen. We got Giants, Commanders, which look, it's a division rivalry, but I don't know. I don't care about watching that. Bengals, Browns, Raiders, Patriots, Chiefs, Chargers will be the Friday Sao Paulo game. I think I'm already seeing Dallas fans. The season opener will be Dallas at Philly. I'm already seeing Dallas fans talk crap about how they're going to win that game. Come on, man. Y'all are going to get smoked once again.
Yeah, when a team wins the Super Bowl and they host that Thursday night game, they're 11-5 all time. A couple famous losses, including Alex Smith in Kansas City going into Foxborough and just absolutely obliterating New England. So it can happen. But I'm on Philly there. But you're right, man. It's like the night games are kind of intriguing for week one, and then including that Friday night game, right? And then the other games are just a snooze fest. But, man, that Sunday night game, way to cap off a full Sunday of football. Bills and Ravens. It's the reigning MVP, Josh Allen, against the reigning AP Offensive Player of the Year quarterback, Lamar Jackson. This will only be the second time that has happened where two different guys have won it, and they've met the next year. Any idea, Steve Igo, who the other two quarterbacks are to have played each other, where one won MVP and one won the AP Player of the Year?
Week one?
No, just in general. The next season they played.
Brady and Manning?
That was the guess I had when I heard this trivia question, but no. I will tell you, it's. I heard one of the quarterbacks' names. And I thought that his opponent would have been drafted famously the same year as him, but the opponent was actually a cross-conference opponent. Late 80s.
Late 80s. Just give it to me so we don't have too much dead air. I don't want to rack my brain.
Elway in Montana.
Okay. Elway in Montana.
So when I heard Elway, I was thinking, okay, it's going to be Marino or Kelly. And then it was Montana.
The first thing that came to my mind was Elway Marino, but then when you said across conference, I don't know why I drew a blank on Montana because they obviously matched up quite a bit. But yeah, good trivia. Man, we'll have to mix in some more trivia as we move forward with our show going
June
through the summer.
when we don't have anything going on. It might just be sports trivia like one day a week.
That's completely fine with me. Sports Trivia Wednesday, we'll do it on the show. I do to look a little bit deeper at the schedule. How about the Thanksgiving slate? Look, sometimes this can be a snooze fest, but this year we get Packers. Yeah, Packers, Lions, Chiefs, Cowboys, and Bengals, Ravens. So that is going to be an electric day of football. ECU might be playing basketball allegedly on that day in that Fort Myers tip-off because I know UNC and Michigan State play that day. For the Fort Myers tip-off that ECU is going to be in. So maybe we'll get ECU St. Bonaventure in between one of these games. But either way, I'm going to be locked on football.
I'm not sitting in the studio. I didn't get to go home last year for Thanksgiving. Please do not make me have to work. But I can't, as long as I don't have to work then, I can't complain about having to produce these games because whoever's producing the Cowboys, the Chiefs, and I think one other team is playing this year on Christmas and Thanksgiving.
Yeah, what's up with this Christmas Day? Because the Broncos are now going to ruin my Christmas because they play in Arrowhead. There's zero shot that they're going to win in Arrowhead on Christmas. And so I'm going to be ticked off all afternoon and evening watching the Broncos lose. They never win in Arrowhead. There's some crazy voodoo there as we saw last year. So I don't know. I'm not a big fan of my team playing on Christmas Day. I just want – look, if it's not the Broncos, that's fine. I don't want to watch my team lose on Christmas Day.
I'll be honest with you. I know a lot of people don't like the NBA. It was kind of nice back in the day when it was just NBA on, it was like, hey, you get to like casually just like tune in. You don't really care, but it's on in the background. It's the other thing with the NFL, man. It's like fantasy football playoffs are going on. We're in all these pools. Like you feel like you got to watch, like, you're trying to spend time with family. But like when the NBA's on, you just kind of like turn it on in the background. It's like, hey, the Clippers are playing the Kings. Cool.
So you got Christmas Day games are the Cowboys at the Commanders on Netflix. the Lions, so the Lions and Cowboys and Chiefs.
Okay, so those are the
all
three.
play.
I knew there were three.
Yeah, Lions at the Vikings also on Netflix, and then the Broncos at Chiefs that night on Prime Video. So at least I'll get to enjoy my day, and then the nighttime I'll just be mad the whole time. Luckily the kids will be asleep. But yeah, look. I mean, I get why the NFL is doing this. Still not a big fan of it, but I'll watch it because, hey, it's the NFL. And at the end of the day, man, there's no better product than the NFL right now. Like, we give them crap sometimes, but it is a year-round machine. We're sitting here on May 15th talking about the NFL and the Greenville, North Carolina radio show.
Yeah. Where, it's funny you mentioned Greenville, North Carolina, because this is a melting pot when it comes to NFL fans.
Yep.
It used to be Redskin country. There's plenty of Panther fans. There's a bunch of Cowboy fans that can't find Texas on a map. And then there's random Bronco fans like you.
And before we take a break, we were talking pre-show. A lot of games this year. ECU will have the weekend off. What game is Philip Pilkington going to try to go to for the Panthers? Because this gives you a lot of opportunities, if not to go to multiple games this year.
Yeah, so the funny thing was a couple of my buddies are wanting to go to Cowboys-Broncos out in Denver. I was like, yeah, I could probably go with you guys, unless, if it falls the week of an ECU bye or an ECU Thursday night game. Well, sure enough, it did. But the one Panthers game I want to go to the most is to see Josh Allen play. AFC teams only come here once every 8 years. Got to see Patty Mahomes last year, so I'm looking forward to when we have that bye in late October, watching Josh Allen play, and it'll save me a lot of money not having to buy a plane ticket to Colorado.
Now, I'm looking, too. The Panthers also play the Cowboys the
October
weekend
12th.
ECU. Yeah. Are you looking at that at all? Because that's the weekend ECU is at Tulane on a Thursday. So you could potentially see the Cowboys there.
Yeah, I think so. I'll probably, I was looking at it. I'll probably make 4 or 5. I was texting William last night. He's a Browns fan. Never been to an NFL game. So we'll probably go to that preseason game. It's Friday night. Stay at my parents' house. So, yeah, don't know for sure. Hopefully that Seattle game, because it's like between Christmas and New Year's, we'll probably lay low around that time. There's the rumor that on the 22nd will be the ECU Carolina basketball game, so I probably won't go to the Bucks game on the 21st. But I'm hoping that weekend between Christmas and New Year's we can lay low. But who knows? Stupid American will probably schedule basketball games or something.
They'll mess it up somehow. Yeah. Speaking of scheduling, on the other side, we'll talk about the ESPN has announced, I believe, 10 broadcasts for Week 0 and Week 1, and ECU, NC State not included in that mix for now. So we'll tell you more about that on the other side, what that could mean for where that game will fall on television on Thursday night in Week 1. We'll also discuss, if we have time, NBA, NHL playoffs continuing on as well. This is Hoist the Colors, final segment coming up.
Hi, I'm D.R. Alligood.
And I'm his daughter, Jessica.
For 11 years, we have built quality driveways and parking lots for both your residential and commercial needs. We also offer free on-site quotes to have your custom driveways built the way you want.
252-946-1227.
Your roof is a vital part of protecting your home and family from dangerous storms and hurricanes. At Assist Roofing, we install and maintain metal roofing that provides precise protection. Add value to your home while lowering utility costs with a fortified roof to last a lifetime. With 0% financing, grants, and Energy Star Green Roofing tax credit available. Call us to schedule a free consultation so you can weather any storm with confidence.
Make every day electric on the Kawasaki Electro 20 electric balance bike. Maximize the fun with long run times, impressive top speed, and Kawasaki build quality. Easy adjustability and smooth handling make everyday riding more enjoyable. And the standard MTB type tires provide off-pavement capability. The Kawasaki Electro 20 is the electric balance bike that's built to rip. Go to Ron Ayers Motorsports, Memorial Drive north of the airport, Greenville.
Your confidence makes everything look good.
You see the world in vivid color, not black and white. Swing through your neighborhood Fantastic Sam's cut in color. And let our experienced stylists take you from everyday to extraordinary.
Fantastic Sam's hair salons are locally owned and operated. Our full-service salons are conveniently located in Goldsboro, Kinston, Greenville, New Bern, Jacksonville, and Calabash. Stop in today at Fantastic Sam's, where the possibilities are endless.
If you are interested in living longer and living stronger, Eastern Physical and Lifestyle Medicine is accepting new patients for a limited time. Finding a caring physician can be a challenge. Dr. Billy Smith is board certified in physical medicine and lifestyle medicine and has been practicing in the area for many years. Call for an appointment now to Eastern Physical and Lifestyle Medicine, 252-364-1108 in Greenville. That number again is 252-364-1108.
Looking for a great deal on a new Nissan?
At Greenville Nissan, we've got a great selection of new Nissans for under $30,000.
The stylish Nissan Sentra, offering top-notch fuel economy. The Nissan Altima, known for its comfort and technology.
The Nissan Kicks, the perfect combination with its compact design and performance. The Nissan Versa, delivering incredible value without compromising on features. And don't forget the Nissan Rogue, an award winner for 10 years in a row. Drive it home just for $22 down and $349 a month.
Visit GreenvilleNissan.com today.
Greenville Nissan, where we drive to serve.
Hi, I'm D.R. Alligood.
And I'm his daughter, Jessica.
For 11 years, we have built quality driveways and parking lots for both your residential and commercial needs. We also offer free on-site quotes to have your custom driveway built the way you want.
We're live with Stephen Igo on 94.3 Now, back to Hoist the Colors.
Welcome back in. Final segment here. Stephen Igo talking right now, and Philip Pilkington hanging out as well. We were talking to NFL scheduling. We had a little bit of interesting college football scheduling note come out earlier this week. ESPN went ahead and slotted some of its marquee primetime games for week 0, week 1. So Kansas State and Iowa State in Dublin, Ireland will be at ESPN kickoff week 0. That is Saturday, August 23rd. Then you get to week 1. Decent amount of games slated for that Thursday, which is when ECU is scheduled to play NC State as well. So ESPN went ahead and slotted Boise State at USF for an ESPN mothership game. That is a 5:30 kickoff. Nebraska at Cincinnati, or versus Cincinnati, I should say, in Arrowhead. That's slotted as a 9 o'clock kickoff. They also announced Georgia Tech, Colorado will be that Friday at 8 o'clock. Also went ahead and announced for that Saturday games between Tennessee, Syracuse, Alabama, and Florida State, LSU at Clemson, and Cal at Oregon State for some primetime television contests. So we have yet to hear when or where the ECU NC State game will be broadcasted. Now, I did some research. Last year, ESPN2 did not broadcast a single game on the Thursday night of opening college football. And what happened was they put, I can't remember who it was, I think it was NC State, Western Carolina on ACC Network, and then I want to say Wake Forest and Elon or Duke, somebody played where the game was on ESPN, or excuse me, on ACC Network Extra. So I'm almost thinking, Philip, as I look at this, you've got Elon scheduled to play Duke. That was the game that had me crossed up. And ECU scheduled to play NC State. I'm thinking ECU NC State is going to be on ACC Network, and Elon Duke is going to be on ACC Network Extra, which seems a little asinine to me. Like, why did they move this game to Thursday just to put it on ACC Network?
Yeah. Now, my thing is,
I don't know.
You know, you mentioned last year no ESPN2. I don't know. You know, that's late in the season where historically ESPN cares about Major League Baseball, where they'll do more than just Sunday Night Baseball. Yeah. They'll, you know, throw in usually a Tuesday and a Thursday as well. So maybe they had Thursday Night Baseball on ESPN2, which would make sense. But, yeah, if you're going to move it, you know, it would be one thing, I think, if it was already slated to be on the ACC network and then the ACC network announced, hey, we're moving it. But, like, you didn't even know the network. You announced you're moving. I think it was one of the first games that got moved. And then to not play it would be weird. I'm hoping it's ESPN2. Now, my question to you is, what's more of a slap in the face, ACC Network or ESPNU?
Gosh, I would say, honestly, ESPNU.
I think so.
Like, why would you put East like that? To me, just feels like Bowling Green versus Akron.
It does.
I don't know. Like I just, I'm looking at the Thursday night schedule. Buffalo is at Minnesota. I guess that'll probably be a Fox game.
Yeah, or the Big Ten Network.
You know what? Yeah, like Alabama State at UAB. That feels like an ESPNU game. Wyoming Akron. That is your ESPNU game right there.
Yeah.
Should be at least. Yeah, I don't know. We got so we'll keep an eye on it. I think it's May 28th or May 29th where they're going to announce the full schedule for the first 3 weeks. So we'll know shortly, in short order, where and when that game will be played. Obviously, we know it's in Raleigh. Talking about where as far as TV network. All right, final minute of the show. Tonight in the playoffs, by the way, Edmonton secured the series at Vegas in overtime. They win 4-1 to advance to the Western Conference Finals. The Hurricanes at the Nationals, the Hurricanes at the Capitals tonight. Gosh, getting all my things mixed up. Hurricanes looking to wrap it up. And then Dallas is at Winnipeg, also looking to wrap it up. And then you got Denver, OKC. What's Philip Pilkington watching tonight?
I'll start with the Canes game on while I'm in here producing. And if it's still good, I'll stay in tuned and then pick you guys up when they gut off. But if it's bad, then I'll just go ahead and flip over to the Nuggets game as soon as you guys tip.
8:30 start for OKC Denver, trying to force a Game 7. All right, fun show today. We're out of time. Philip, appreciate you as always, man.
Yeah, man, it was fun. Good luck to your Nuggets tonight, and hope you guys get another date on Sunday with OKC.
Yeah, I hope so. Hopefully I can wear my Nuggets shirt in the studio with pride tomorrow. We'll have Bobby Harward hanging out tomorrow. We'll recap Game 1 of the series against USF. Also talk about all things sports on Friday at 12 noon. We'll see you then. This has been Hoist the Colors.
This has been Hoist the Colors with your host, Stephen Igo. Tune in weekdays at noon for all